Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show. And man, there is a lot to talk about in today's episode. We hear from World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. We also hear from Seth Rollins. We also have a highly anticipated contract signing between the ruler, Obafemi, and the Beast, Brock Lesnar. We also have some news about TKO and WWE that I want to talk about too. We'll talk more about that at the end of today's episode, man. But there is a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect with what happened on Monday Night Raw, man. But let's start off the night. We hear from CM Punk. Now, originally, it was announced that Seth Rollins was actually going to start the show, but Raw goes on the air on Netflix, and we see CM Punk walk through the arena like a lot of other superstars do. But he walks through the arena, he walks past Gorilla, and he makes his way out to the ring. Seemingly pissed off, he throws the World Heavyweight Championship into the ring, he grabs a microphone, and then Punk sits down in the middle of the ring. Punk says that Houston is a wrestling town, and that there is a lot of wrestling history in the city of Houston. Punk then talks about the old-timers of wrestling. Punk then says sometimes he dreams, and he wonders what Harley Race would say or do. Punk says that Roman Reigns is not here tonight. Punk then talks about Roman putting Punk through an announce table a couple of weeks ago. Punk says, though, he got his receipt back by putting Roman through an announce table as well. Punk says that being hated by losers is a price he is willing to pay for not selling his soul. Fans then chant OTC. Punk says, yeah, keep chanting OTC and maybe he'll show up to work. Punk says that he hates Roman. He also calls Roman Reigns plastic. Punk then mentions TKO. Punk says that Roman is fake, and that's why TKO sends Roman to do talk shows like Jimmy Fallon. Punk says that at least The Rock is a Hollywood superstar, or at least was a Hollywood superstar. Punk says that this is pro wrestling and not cinema. Punk then mocks Roman. Punk says that Roman hates him because Roman can't control him like Roman does control his cousins. Punk then mentions Pat McAfee, who, if you guys watched SmackDown last week, we saw Pat McAfee show up, and he was the person behind the mystery call to Randy Orton. Punk then mocks Pat McAfee, and Punk says that Pat wrote a check that his ass can't cash. Punk says to lower the WrestleMania ticket prices. The crowd erupts after that. Punk says that Pat has a receipt coming. And Punk says that he wants to lower the WrestleMania tickets so people can see him destroy Roman Reigns. Couple of things I want to talk about this, man. Number one, we'll talk more about this at the end of the episode, but I want to bring this to y'all's attention. Now, Punk pretty much, literally destroyed Roman in this promo, number one. And, there's been this back and forth banter here between Roman and the OTC for the past couple weeks, and it's only getting better and better over time. Now, there were certain things about what Punk said in this promo that was striking to me. Number one, Punk mentioned TKO. Now, there's been a lot of flack about TKO now for the past, few days. And this all stemmed from when Pat McAfee showed up and was revealed as the mystery person behind the phone calls that Randy Orton was having backstage. The other voice, if you will, that Randy Orton was listening to outside the normal voices in his head. So we see Pat McAfee show up. Pat McAfee pretty much hits a low blow on Cody Rhodes. And is, like I said, pretty much revealed that Pat McAfee is going to be in the corner of Randy Orton. And that Pat McAfee wants to see a change in professional wrestling. So later on in SmackDown, now I didn't watch the entire episode of SmackDown, but I seen clips of this and people brought it to my attention because I was on vacation. So I'm looking over these clips, and I'm seeing some of these, YouTube clips, if you will, of what Pat McAfee said in his promo, and then what Cody Rhodes had said in his promo later on in the night on Friday Night SmackDown. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the promo that Cody Rhodes cut on SmackDown was straight from the hip, man. This was a shoot. This was Cody Rhodes legitimately pissed off, not only at Pat McAfee, but he was also pissed off at TKO, and the status of the company right now being WWE. There's a genuinely belief here that backstage there's some kind of inner turmoil battle between WWE and TKO. Most notably, probably Triple H and Ari Emanuel, as well as maybe even The Rock, for that matter. So we had, Cody come out and cut that promo mentioning TKO. Now, there was more stuff that I found out about TKO, specifically Ari Emanuel, that did strike some, it kind of had me laughing. So Ari Emanuel, if you guys don't know, obviously owns TKO. TKO owns roughly about 50 to 52% of WWE. They're a majority stakeholder in WWE. They own the company pretty much, with the likes of Ari Emanuel, as well as, Nick Khan. We also have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on the board of directors for this company as well. But Ari Emanuel, there's some ties there between Ari Emanuel and Pat McAfee. Number one, Ari Emanuel is Pat McAfee's agent. Didn't know that until the other day. So, Ari Emanuel is Pat McAfee's agent, I guess for, Hollywood or whatever. But Ari Emanuel also made comments pretty much stating that he sees Pat McAfee as the next Sylvester Stallone, which is absolutely hilarious, in my honest opinion. So, we hear from Cody Rhodes about TKO. He pretty much, shoots his shot at TKO. You can tell that Cody Rhodes is frustrated, and rightfully so. I mean, once again, this is something where Cody Rhodes is in a predicament going into WrestleMania where he, had a great match and now is fed bullshit. We can all go back to the Travis Scott situation with, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena and all that Travis Scott mess that Cody Rhodes had to deal with that ultimately backfired immensely on WWE. And then here we are now, WrestleMania 42, and now we have Pat McAfee now involved also in Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania match. So it seems like Cody Rhodes, once again, is trying to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. And I don't know, I get the fact, I mentioned this about Jelly Roll when he was on SmackDown 2 weeks ago, that obviously there's going to be some celebrity appearances going into WrestleMania. It's a business. We all know it's the biggest stage of the year for WWE. It's the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. And there always has been and there always will be celebrity appearances throughout the night at WrestleMania. Either it's night 1 or night 2. It's been that way since the very beginning. From WrestleMania 1, having the likes of Mr. T and Muhammad Ali and Cyndi Lauper and a lot of other celebrities a part of WrestleMania. It's been the same thing for many, many years. But as the years have gone on, most notably for the past 2 years, even this year, celebrities I feel like WrestleMania went from being WrestleMania to Celebrity Mania. Because you have the likes of Jelly Roll now, Jelly Roll, Pat McAfee, Little Yachty. I Show Speed now is also involved in a matchup at WrestleMania. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, man, to a point where, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, the match itself should sell itself. There's history enough between both these guys. When Cody Rhodes came into the business, obviously Dusty was still around. They were setting up that storyline there between Cody, Dusty, and Randy Orton, with Orton at the time being the Legend Killer. And really at that time, we were starting to see more of Cody Rhodes develop on screen. Cody Rhodes was being showcased on Monday Night Raw. And then we seen Cody Rhodes make his WWE debut. One of his first matches, if not his first match, was against Randy Orton. And then eventually, Randy and Cody got into Legacy, which was a stable in WWE that he was a part of. And we've seen Cody Rhodes develop over time until eventually he was let go by WWE, and the rest was history. So there's history there between Rhodes and Orton, man. And this match itself, it sold itself, just based on the history that both these guys have in WWE. There was no need for Pat McAfee to be a part of this matchup here between Orton and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. The reason why they did this was because TKO, most notably Ari Emanuel, has a lot of high praise for Pat McAfee. And clearly WWE has had some trouble selling tickets for this year's WrestleMania. It's been from, them not showcasing WrestleMania at local bars and restaurants in the Las Vegas area because they want people to buy tickets. They've also lowered the price of tickets. They've also put the tickets on discount or, 25% off or 35% off or whatever have you, to get fans to come to WrestleMania. So they're trying to add this celebrity appearances, now adding Pat McAfee, to try to get people to purchase WrestleMania tickets that cost pretty much an arm, leg, and a head to actually go to WrestleMania. And they're thinking that Pat McAfee is going to be one of those individuals that's going to push ticket sales for people to go to WrestleMania. Look, man, after all the shit that happened on SmackDown, and then we hear this shit about TKO and Ari Emanuel and Pat McAfee and all the shit that's gone down over the past few days, I can tell you right now, man, this WrestleMania this year is going to be very telling and very interesting when it's all said and done. I mean, there has been people that have come out the woodworks, bro, with conspiracy theories, even stating that The Rock might be involved in this year's WrestleMania. He might cost Roman Reigns his matchup against Punk, which sets up Roman and The Rock for next year's WrestleMania, which I believe is going to be in Saudi, if I'm not mistaken, and set up that highly anticipated matchup that a lot of people want to see. There's also rumors and speculation that The Rock might get involved in Cody Rhodes' match against Randy Orton to have this whole TKO versus WWE, shit happening on screen. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. All we do know as of late is that WWE has gotten away from creative, and they're more about corporate greed at this point. That's literally what WWE has been about ever since TKO had, pretty much now owns WWE. And there's even been some people that are stating that they give it maybe 18 to 26 months that Triple H is on his way out. And the way things are starting to align, as far as the Triple H conspiracy goes, would I be shocked if they let him go? Yeah, I think a lot of people would be shocked. But if the way things are playing out as of late, especially in Hunter's camp, yeah, I can see that totally happening. Because no matter what WWE does, Triple H is always going to be the fall guy for something to go wrong. Paul Levesque is going to be taking the brunt of anything that goes wrong in WWE because he's the chief creator. He's the content officer. That's what he does. He's the guy behind Gorilla. He's the guy that's, in the war room, if you will, coming up with ideas and storylines for WWE. So if anything goes wrong or the fans don't like it, Paul Levesque is 100% the fall guy. And then we have Triple H getting in the Hall of Fame, obviously, a while back ago. We got now Triple H pushing Stephanie McMahon to get in the Hall of Fame this year. So maybe, just maybe, Paul Levesque sees the writing on the wall. And maybe it is something where they maybe give Hunter maybe 18 to 26 months, maybe a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years max, and then Triple H is getting the boot, and he's no longer in WWE. Obviously, we know that there's issues or hostility, I would say, between Paul Levesque and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, that's been evident for, years and years and years, man. I mean, it's been... You can't deny the fact that both these guys have some heat with each other, being Paul Levesque and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And the fact that Dwayne is basically essentially Triple H's boss, with The Rock being on the board of directors. I mean, look, man, there's something... Even some people are saying that The Rock, not saying he's going to be a part of creative, but be more of an on-screen situation for The Rock rather than seeing Triple H. Triple H is gone. And I believe... I'm going to mess this name up, man, but I'm going to try to get it out as best way I can. Brian Gierowitz, have him come in and be the head of creative and have him write for Raw and SmackDown, or Monday Night Raw for that matter. And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's production team comes in, $7 production, to come in to help run WWE. That's also the conspiracy theory that's going around. I personally think with the comments that were made by CM Punk in this promo, from what he said about Pat McAfee, what he said about TKO, I mean, clearly, this could be also something where Triple H can't say anything. His lips are kind of tied at this point, but he's sending out CM Punk and maybe Cody Rhodes to do the talking for him. There's not a damn thing that Hunter can do at this point. Paul Levesque, I genuinely believe Paul Levesque's time at WWE, he's on a short rope at this point, bro. The window is closing slowly for Paul Levesque to stay in WWE, to be honest with you. And, the crazy thing is, even with SmackDown, people can sit there and say, oh, well, Road Dogg really shit the bed with WWE, but Road Dogg's been gone now for a couple weeks. So you can't sit there and point the finger at Road Dogg or Brian James. It's a collective effort right now on SmackDown, the reason why that show is so dog shit. And the fact that show is 3 hours is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's one of those things, bro, where it's WrestleMania right now is not looking good. That shit with Cody Rhodes and Orton and Pat McAfee, shit the bed. And we'll talk more about that at the end of today's show. But let's go into the first official match of the night. It's Austin Theory taking on LA Knight with I Show Speed ringside during this matchup. But the match itself was a good match. It was a back and forth match between Austin Theory and LA Knight, with Knight keeping the pace of the match. LA Knight hits multiple scoop slams on Austin Theory in the middle of the ring. LA Knight was trying to keep the pace of the match, with Knight sending Theory over the barricade on the outside. Theory and Knight get in the middle of the ring, with Theory hitting a rolling blockbuster on LA Knight for a near fall. Logan Paul, who was also ringside with I Show Speed, Logan shoves I Show Speed into LA Knight. LA Knight then goes after I Show Speed. I Show Speed tries to go up to the stage, or the ramp if you will, but he is stopped by the Usos. LA Knight then rushes back to the ring. He attacks Logan Paul. This allowed Theory to pick up on the distraction, hit a roll-up on LA Knight, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Austin Theory. After the match, you can see the Usos and LA Knight in the middle of the ring with I Show Speed. Usos then go for a 1D on I Show Speed, but Logan Paul saves I Show Speed. LA Knight then grabs a microphone. He's standing in the middle of the ring with the Usos, and LA Knight calls out Adam Pearce. LA Knight says, you know what, how about a matchup between myself and the Usos taking on the Vision and I Show Speed at WrestleMania? And Adam Pearce makes it official. It will be at WrestleMania, the Vision and I Show Speed taking on LA Knight and the Usos. Be an interesting match at WrestleMania. Moving on from that, we have JD McDonough for the Judgment Day taking on Finn Balor. Finn Balor makes his way out to the ring, but he's quickly attacked by Dominic Mysterio. Finn tries to fight back, but Dominic hits Finn with a AAA title. Dominic, after that, hits Finn with multiple chair shots, leaving Finn Balor helpless in the middle of the ring. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. Is Bayley taking on Lash Legend, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. The match itself, it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Bayley and Lash Legend, with Bayley keeping the pace of the match. Lash then lands a big boot, taking out Bayley in the middle of the ring, but Bayley gets up, hits a running knee on Lash Legend. Bayley then follows it up by hitting an elbow drop on Lash for a near fall. Nia Jax, who was ringside, sweeps the legs of Bayley. Nia then attacks Lyra Valkyria, but Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair are here. Alexa and Charlotte attack Nia Jax. Lash then goes for a superplex on Bayley, but Lyra grabs the legs of Lash Legend. This allowed Bayley to counter Lash into a roll-up, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Bayley. Hats off to Bayley for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we hear from Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out to the ring, he grabs a microphone, says he talks about being gone for 6 months dealing with injury. Rollins says that he has been waiting to return back to WWE. After that, the fans were chanting Seth Rollins' theme song. Rollins then says that he is back. Rollins then talks about WrestleMania. Rollins says he's trying to put the pieces back together and figure out how we got here. Rollins then believes Gunther has entered into some kind of working relationship with Paul Heyman. But Rollins says that he's here for 2 missions, and that's all. Rollins says that he wants to take his title back, and he wants to kill the Vision. Rollins says that he did put Lesnar on a silver platter for Oba Femi. He also says that Oba Femi is the future with no doubt. Rollins says that this match with Gunther is personal. After this, Gunther is here. Gunther tries to attack Rollins. Rollins and Gunther both brawl throughout the ring. Pearce is here with the WWE security trying to stop them from fighting. Gunther then walks backstage. He's greeted by Paul Heyman. Heyman says he doesn't know why Gunther attacked Rollins, but Heyman says he owes Gunther a thank you. Gunther then stares down Paul Heyman and says that Heyman owes Gunther more than a thank you. Some interesting stuff there between Gunther and Paul Heyman. And moving on from that, we have a 6-man tag team matchup. It is Penta teaming up with Dragon Lee and Javon Evans to take on Los Americanos. I thought it was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between both teams with Penta, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans keeping the pace of the match. Americano hits an enziguri. Dragon Lee hits a Styles Clash in the middle of the ring for a near fall, followed by Dragon Lee hitting a Hurricane Rana on Americano to the outside. Penta then hits a Mexican Destroyer off the apron. This allowed Javon Evans to hit an OG cutter pins for the 3, and your winners of the match are Penta, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans. After the match, you can see Penta, Dragon Lee, and Javon Evans standing in the middle of the ring, but all of a sudden, Rey Mysterio music hits. Mysterio makes his way down to the ring, grabs a microphone. Mysterio says he had to come to the ring to give congrats to Penta. Mysterio then talks about a ladder match and says that he had talked to Adam Pearce, and they said that this ladder match is missing one person. Rey Mysterio then announces that he has entered the ladder match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title, man. It's going to be a great match. Definitely excited that Rey Mysterio is back in the fold on Monday Night Raw. Moving on from that, we have a tag team matchup. It is Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley taking on Michin and B-Fab. I thought it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between both teams with Io and Rhea keeping the pace of the match. Jade, though, attacks Rhea Ripley. Io then hits a roll-up, though, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, are Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. After the match, Jade, B-Fab, and Michin attack Io. Rhea then attacks Jade, B-Fab, and Michin as well. But Michin and B-Fab hold Rhea back into the corner, while Jade attacks Io with a kendo stick. Jade then hits a Jaded on Io, leaving Io helpless in the middle of the ring. Some interesting stuff there between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. Moving on from that, we have a Finn Balor vignette. Finn is sitting backstage. Finn says that he should have known that Dominic and JD were going to play dirty. He taught Dominic how to play dirty. Finn says that Dominic hasn't realized what he has done. Finn says that Dominic woke something up in Finn that he hasn't seen forever, that he thought was gone forever. Finn says at WrestleMania, Dom will see the other side of Finn that he hasn't seen before. The camera then zooms in on Finn, and you can see one side of Finn Balor's face, and the other side of the face was the demon. And it looks like Finn Balor is going to return as the Demon at WrestleMania. Some interesting stuff there from Finn Balor. And to close out the night, we get the highly anticipated contract signing between Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar. Adam Pearce and Triple H come down to the ring for the contract signing. Heyman introduces Brock Lesnar. Lesnar is here. Oba Femi is here as well. Oba then mocks Lesnar. Lesnar then goes after Oba Femi. Oba and Lesnar brawl throughout the arena. WWE security are trying to break up the fight. Lesnar throws a chair at Oba, and Oba throws a chair at Lesnar. And then Monday Night Raw goes off the air. Some interesting stuff there between the Ruler and the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Couple of things I want to talk about, man, as far as Monday Night Raw is concerned before I get the hell up out of here, man. Number one, it was a solid show. I can't sit here and say that it hasn't been a solid few weeks for Monday Night Raw. Obviously hearing from CM Punk, which I do want to talk more about. I told you guys that I wanted to talk more about the whole TKO situation. I'm going to be honest, man. I want to start with that first. I'm going to be honest. I genuinely believe, and I think it's more prevalent now than ever, that TKO might not be the best thing for WWE, to be honest with you. There's a lot of corporate greed going on, clearly, with TKO. A lot of favoritism, especially from Ari Emanuel, most specifically with Ari Emanuel and Pat McAfee. I mean, bro, when Pat McAfee was revealed to be the voice of the voices, as far as Randy Orton, and being the person behind the mystery calls that Orton was having backstage, when they revealed it was Pat McAfee, bro, there were so many people that were just so highly disappointed that it was Pat McAfee. Pat, look, Pat, I'm a fan of Pat McAfee. I think what he's doing with his own podcast and what he does for college football, it's great. Pat McAfee he's doing big things, man. He's doing great. But this whole promo that Pat cut on Cody Rhodes, man, it was just not needed. I mean, I can't stress this enough, that Pat McAfee is not needed for this WWE Universal Championship match between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Rhodes and Orton have a history that's 20 years. A very long time. These guys have been best friends. They wrestled against each other. I mean, Rhodes has even gone on credit saying that Randy Orton is his mentor. Now, a lot of things that Cody Rhodes had learned in professional wrestling, he learned from Randy Orton. The history alone for this match sells this match like sliced bread. There was no need for Pat McAfee. Ariel Emanuel brought Pat McAfee in solely to sell tickets for WrestleMania. to try to turn chicken shit into chicken salad, which they didn't need to do. Cody Rhodes now, I mentioned this earlier when I first started the episode today, that Cody Rhodes now, for WrestleMania, man, he literally is in a position where he is trying to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. We all remember the Travis Scott situation and how badly it flopped. It was horrible. And then here we are now, this WrestleMania now, in a list, 2 weeks? And now we have Pat McAfee that Cody Rhodes has to deal with. But then you hear Cody Rhodes cut that promo, you could tell how pissed off Rhodes was. And there's a lot of wrestlers in the back, from what I understand, that are pissed off with TKO's involvement into some of these matches. Most notably, WrestleMania. There's a lot of talent frustrated. CM Punk kicked off Monday Night Raw by even mentioning the fact that he had frustrations with TKO, frustrations with Pat McAfee. There's clearly frustrations there between the talent, WWE, and TKO. For sure. And we don't know what's going on backstage. We don't. We don't have a clue. And I told you guys before, there's been conspiracy theories going around saying that Paul Levesque, Triple H, has roughly 18 to 26 months left in WWE, and then he is gone. They are kicking his ass to the curb. It's a conspiracy theory, but it's hard to discredit that theory. Just based on everything that's been going on as of late, the fact that, we all know that Triple H is inducted into WWE. We know that Triple H takes a lot of flack if something goes bad in WWE, and that Triple H pushed for Stephanie McMahon to get inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Maybe Hunter sees the writing on the wall. Maybe he realized that his time in WWE is coming to an end. You know what I mean? This is also a company where before TKO even came around, they didn't have a lot of faith in Hunter. Look what Vince did with Hunter in NXT. He demolished NXT. NXT has never been the same since then. Paul Levesque is walking on thin ice, bro, right now in WWE, in the current landscape that it is with WWE and TKO. Honestly. And that's why I said a lot of people believe within 18 to 26 months, Paul's gone. That he's out of WWE. And then some people even said, well, if Paul goes, is Shawn going to leave? I don't know. Only because the fact that they could keep Shawn in NXT, or because Shawn is so close to Hunter, maybe it's a package deal and they both leave. I don't know. We hear from CM Punk. He mentions Roman. He mentions TKO. He mentions Pat McAfee. We get the contract signing between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, which, not for nothing, just based upon what happened with Cody Rhodes and Orton and Pat McAfee, I got to put probably Punk and Reigns number 1 and Obafemi and Brock Lesnar number 2. And honestly, it's kind of neck and neck, to be honest with you. I think the Randy Orton match and the Cody Rhodes match took a big shit, to be honest with you, going into WrestleMania with the addition of Pat McAfee. It was not needed. It was not needed at all. So I can understand Cody's frustrations. I mean, again, he's going to have to carry the match. When the whole Travis Scott shit happened, he had to carry the match. And here we are again going into this year's WrestleMania, same song and dance, man. Now he has to deal with Pat McAfee. It's a fucking joke. This is a company that's solely about corporate greed, man. They don't give a shit about anybody else. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the ticket prices. I mean, look what CM Punk said alone. Telling the world that TKO needs to lower the ticket prices for WrestleMania. Basically, damn near begging them to drop the prices for WrestleMania. WrestleMania tickets are astronomically expensive. You got to sell your soul pretty much to get one of those goddamn tickets. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And not for nothing, they want to call these events PLEs, but to me, they're not pay-per-view worthy, man. They're just not. They're not. And after what we saw on SmackDown and even the clips that I saw from SmackDown, I don't want to hear another damn soul bitch and complain about AEW, bro. I don't. SmackDown might be the worst wrestling that's out there right now. By far the worst 3 hours of pro wrestling, without a shadow of a doubt. They have no idea what the hell to do on SmackDown. They are clueless as all hell. They got no plans, no vision, no storylines, no intrigue. And you go into SmackDown, you see Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson in the goddamn match. No one gives a shit about that. Nobody cares. Like I said earlier in the show, man, that WrestleMania is starting to turn into celebrity mania at this point. Because now we have Jelly Roll. Now we have, Little Yachty. Now we have, Pat McAfee. I mean, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous, man. It honestly is. You got men and women that are competing throughout the entire year just to get an opportunity to wrestle at WrestleMania, and then it's getting surpassed by Little Yachty or Pat McAfee or some other bullshit. It's just, I don't know, bro. We also have I Show Speed a part of this year's WrestleMania. I Show Speed's in a tag team matchup with Division taking on the Usos and LA Knight. It's just, bro, why? Why? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. And at the end of the day, WrestleMania once again is going back to Las Vegas. And I'm going to be honest, man, I think this year's WrestleMania is going to be the drizzling shits. Just based upon what I saw on SmackDown and how things are playing out, yeah, absolutely. Things need to change for WWE, bro. We can't keep having this corporate greed bullshit. We just can't have it. There needs to be change, a dynamic change. Like I mentioned earlier, there's conspiracy theories out there saying that The Rock will come in, bring in Brian Garowitz or whatever, and Brian Garowitz will be the head of creative. Rock will bring in his production team, Seven Bucks Productions, to help run WWE once Hunter is gone. This company is fucked. I'm telling you right now, man. They're fucked. Because at the end of the day, they're about corporate greed. And because of that, it takes away from the storylines, it takes away from creative, it also takes away opportunities for other talent that have been there busting their asses trying to get an opportunity at WrestleMania. Hell, I found out that, big fan of Trick Williams. He has a matchup against Sami Zayn, but I also heard that Carmelo Hayes will not have a WrestleMania match this year. Io Sky might not also have a WrestleMania match this year. It's ridiculous, bro. It's absolutely ridiculous. Raquel Rodriguez doesn't have a match this year at WrestleMania. And Raquel has been busting her ass throughout the entire year leading up to WrestleMania. And she might not have a match for WrestleMania. It's fucking insane. It's insane, bro. You know what I mean? It's just like... And then we get Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. Which is a fucking joke, man. Rhea is going to carry this match against Jade. Rhea is going to try to do whatever she can to make Jade look good. Jade doesn't deserve a WrestleMania match, bro. I'm sorry. I know there's fans out there of Jade, and I'm sorry, but she cannot wrestle. I'm sorry. And my standpoint on Jade has been the same, and it's going to remain the same till the end of time. Jade Cargill reminds me a lot of Bill Goldberg, Sid Vicious, and Ahmed Johnson. Now, I know Sid Vicious, for those people out there, well, you're saying that she reminds you of Sid Vicious, but Sid's going into the Hall of Fame. Great. I'm not sitting here saying that Sid doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that Sid Vicious had some elaborate career like a Goldberg or like a Shawn Michaels or like a Bret Hart. Get the fuck out of here with that. I'm sorry. We're talking about a guy that, they brought him into WWE in the early days. They really didn't have much plans for Sid. The most notable matches, that, at least in my head, that Sid has had in his WWE run was the matches he had against Shawn. I believe at the Rumble for the WWF title. When I think it was the Royal Rumble, when Shawn was being managed by Jose Lothario. There was that match for Sid and matches that Sid had against, oh Christ, who the hell was it? It was Sid and Shawn. We also see Sid Justice versus Hogan, main event in one of the early WrestleManias. It wasn't like Sid Vicious had this elaborate WWE career. Yeah, he was, world champion and everything else like that, but it wasn't like he had some elaborate career like a Bret Hart or a Ric Flair or something like that. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. Ahmed Johnson didn't have no elaborate career either. The only thing that was most notable about Ahmed Johnson was the fact that they were pushing him for the Intercontinental title, and he had that matchup with Goldust, or that moment with Goldust, that people sometimes still talk about for some apparent reason. Goldberg, they had Jay come in, AEW had that undefeated streak, everything else, and they built her up to be a brick shit house. Same thing that WCW did with Eric Bischoff and Goldberg. Same shit. Same shit. But Jade can't wrestle, bro. Jade Cargill should have never been fast-tracked to the main roster. She should have at least done a year, maybe 2 years max in NXT to learn the WWE system and develop her craft in the ring. She's very one-dimensional. Same shit, different day. Then she says, I wish I had more matches. No, bro. Nobody wants to see you wrestle. No. I'm sorry. She cannot wrestle. And not for nothing, there's other NXT talent right now that are way better wrestlers than Jade Cargill. Kalani Jordan, JC Jane, Lola Vice. I mean, that's just name a couple. Sol Ruka, Zarya, that are way better wrestlers in ring than Jade Cargill is. Hands down. Hands down, bro. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. To me, this WrestleMania this year, I mean, honestly, might comparably be worse than last year's, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, we have Punk and Reigns, which I'm looking forward to. Originally, I was looking forward to Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, but after the Pat McAfee shit, I don't know. And obviously, the other highly anticipated matchup that everybody wants to see, and myself included, is Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. That is the main event match, bro. I'm sorry. They've been doing a great job by selling this matchup here now for the past few weeks between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Two powerhouse guys, two Goliaths that are going to lock horns in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. It's going to be a hell of a match, man. This is a heavyweight slugfest here between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Definitely looking forward to it. But this year's WrestleMania, bro, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, man. I know, for me personally, I feel like there is some kind of underlying issue here between WWE and TKO. I do. And I've stated my griefs with TKO, bro. They're about the mighty dollar. Corporate greed, man. And it's really, honestly, it's hurting WWE more than it's actually benefiting them, to be honest with you. And you can see talents now showing and voicing their frustrations about TKO. CM Punk just did it on Monday Night Raw, and then Cody Rhodes did it on Friday Night SmackDown last week. These are two top talents in this company venting their frustrations with how shit's being run on WWE television by TKO. Two of your top guys in the company, your biggest stars in the company, venting their frustrations about TKO and the powers that be. Because they're running this company into the fucking ground. That's just the nature of the beast, man. And I think people need to start waking up and realizing that. You know, you're going to have these corporate ass kissers and these podcasters out there that are going to be kissing ass. That are not willing to be genuine and be real, man. I'm genuine and real here. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. By all means, there's the door. See ya. But on here, on my show, I'm going to keep it honest and real. I'm not going to be, okay, well, I'm going to rub shoulders with these people, bro. I made it abundantly clear now for months, if not years at this point. I'm not doing it. You know, you're going to call a spade, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And, you know, for TKO and Ari Emanuel, it's just corporate greed, bro. You're sitting here saying that Pat McAfee is going to be the next Sylvester Stallone? Are you absolutely fucking crazy? And then you bring in Pat McAfee in this matchup. Why? No one gives a shit. You want to bring Pat in to be a heel. Meanwhile, this guy, when he was in WWE, was yeeting around the arenas and all this other shit and cheering up Michael Cole and cheering on the other talent and all this other shit and blah, 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 blah. I mean, and then had that match with Gunther as a babyface. Now he comes back as a heel. For what? What? Does it try to sell this matchup between Orton and Rhodes? The history these two guys had alone sold that match. There's no reason to bring in Pat McAfee. The reason why Pat McAfee is in this match is because Ari Emanuel is good friends with Pat McAfee. And Pat was like, yeah, I'll do it. It's a joke, man. It's an absolute joke. It's not needed. And honestly, anyone from, okay, yeah, I'm interested in seeing this match now, to I can honestly give a rat's ass about seeing Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the Universal title. I can give a rat's ass. Because at one time you had something that was working. Now you're throwing shit in the wall hoping something sticks. And that one thing that you threw up against the wall that was shit was Pat McAfee. Hoping that it was gonna work. Trying to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. It's not needed, man. It's not needed. It's not needed at all. To try to, sell this match? To, sell more tickets for WrestleMania? You gotta sell your goddamn soul to get one of those fucking tickets. Just to go to that piece of shit WrestleMania. A WrestleMania, mind you, that's in the same fucking place now for the past 2 goddamn years. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada, where the Las Vegas Raiders play. You have a residency in Las Vegas for WrestleMania. It's a fucking joke. This WrestleMania was already doomed off rip before they even announced one fucking match for it because of the residency that you have in Las Vegas. What do you think was going to happen? WrestleMania is supposed to go across the country or overseas or all different cities around the country. No, we're going to have the same WrestleMania now, back to back in Las Vegas. Give me a fucking break, man. Honestly, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. Why is WrestleMania having a residency? I go back to the fact when Rock came out, I think it was the debut episode of Netflix on Raw, telling the world that, WrestleMania is going to New Orleans. And then they sweep the rug for the fans over in New Orleans and give the WrestleMania to Las Vegas. Talk about a slap in the fucking face, man. Seriously? Well, we're going to go back to Vegas because there's more money and we want a residency there. Are you fucking serious? Why? I genuinely feel bad for the wrestling fans in New Orleans. You guys were promised a WrestleMania and they took it away from y'all. It's a fucking joke. It's a slap in the face. Slap in the face. We're gonna go back to Vegas and give us the same bullshit we had last year. I'm telling you, bro. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, but I'm also looking forward to people's reaction to this year's WrestleMania. Because I got that feeling, bro, it's not going to be the greatest WrestleMania, or even be better than last year's WrestleMania. I think a lot of people are going to start having their own issues and their own gripes after WrestleMania with TKO themselves, to be honest with you, and vent those frustrations. I can see it happening. Because people are already venting those frustrations now with TKO and WWE right now. We're what, 2 weeks away from WrestleMania? Come on, bro. Come on. It's a joke, man. It's an absolute joke. Shit needs to change. And hopefully they will. And, we got WrestleMania coming up in 2 weeks or another week. After WrestleMania, this would be the perfect time for WWE as a whole, being SmackDown and Raw. It's time for someone to hit the reset button, bro. Get some more intrigue, more storylines, more investment into WWE's product, man. But something needs to change, and hopefully it will change here soon. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.